Okay, I'm back with the beast of beasts. This is like one of the hardest things to deal with. I mean, if it was a cannonball perfectly round, it would be even worse. But other than that, this is hard to deal with. Now I say all that and I could get into it and find out that it's not as bad as I think. It does look a little bit root beer-ish, and I do see some, when you see this cortex, you know, if there's little circles in there and a lot of little dings, it's a good sign because it means it's probably softer. When it's really smooth, and this is pretty darn smooth, it don't bump around in the river for a long time and end up perfectly smooth unless it's a freaking hard rock. So, and this is sandstone, it might be too soft to get into it, but I don't have a lot of choices. I could come and abrade and hit real hard on this end, and I may do that, just try and catch a nub on it and hit hard downward, but I've got a little bit of flatness right here. And so I'm going to support it underneath, and I'm going to hit above the edge on that and see what happens. I don't know if this hammerstone's hard enough. Nope. Colorado River, man. So I've got a harder hammerstone here. Got a little flake off of it. And that is a bad sign. And I don't have solid copper here. Well, let's see if we can get into this at all. Okay, so once you break it, it becomes somewhat easier. Now notice, from all this thumping and bumping down the river, there's a lot of cracks that go through this cortex down into it a little ways. So you can't really expect to work something right underneath the cortex on a cobble like this. But, okay, so the goal is to say, well, how do you get a fairly wide or fairly long point out of this without ruining it? Well, it's tricky. You have to use angles that don't create or perpetuate the steepness of everything. So I don't want to hit straight down and just have a steep bevel. I want to use the leather and hit at oblique angles to try and not have the zigzagging concept's okay, but it's kind of a long zigzagging effort that I'm trying to do. Watch. This is not at the center line. You got to get a little below the center line, but I'm going to try and make it wrap. And see, I tried to make it wrap and go flatter. See, I'm not creating a big hill to climb. I'm trying to skin it while at the same time, and I remember, see, my center plane is where the width and thickness is, if that's where the point is. So as long as I'm working below that or above that and not into that, I'm not really dramatically losing the ability to have a point of a decent size. So I'm gonna knock this down a tiny bit to just kind of raise that little corner a tiny bit to be able to shoot back on there. If you're working right at the center line, it doesn't work very well because you have a tendency to get too much bevel. So now I've got this ridge that hopefully will allow me to shoot into here, and again, I'm trying to go inward. I'm not trying to just, I don't want just a steep thing. That definitely isn't the worst Colorado River rock I've ever seen. So again, a little knock down a little bit. And raise it up. But see, it's not a violent zigzag. It's not a steep. The reason I'm abrading that so much is, number one, because it's tough. But number two, I don't want it to fail on me. Trying to get it skinned. See, it did fail on me. You see how that's Cortex, man. It's all damaged in there from bumping. All right, so then if you see yourself having a chance, I'm gonna leave this because I've got damage here, and this is just, I don't know where we're at with this, so I'm gonna leave it for a minute. Just being conservative here, not doing anything completely radical. Yeah, this is just, it's cracking up and doing weird crap. Like this, catching it. You know, my billets say get this like flat area, and I've got semi-sharper areas to where I can contact the thing with as much or as little, but it's all cracking up. It's got all these incipient fractures in it from bumping around. I like it, don't get me wrong, I'm not being critical of this rock. I'm sure this rock has done the best it can in its life to avoid the problems it has acquired. It's not its fault that it was in a raging river for eons, if not longer. How long is an eon? I don't remember. Okay, now, hey, I got a concept here. We're gonna flute this thing. We're gonna flute it. I say that because people talk about what fluting means. Ow. I'm not even on this thing. I mean, the platform's there. It should go off over here. What am I doing? Okay. Yeah, because then it'll be isolated for the fluting. All right, we're gonna go up here and hit there. Well, that didn't work worth a darn. Well, okay, now I can flute it the other way. I can flute it both ways. Okay, we're good. Oh yeah. By the way, it's really a problem because, you know, you get a rock like this and you braid it for 20 minutes, you don't really achieve anything. Okay, so now we're gonna flute it two ways. We'll flute it this way first. You ready? All right, so that's fluted. Now we're gonna flute it this way. Now that's fluted. Go us. Hey, wifey's home with groceries, so I'm gonna help her unload them. You get the concept. Bye for now. Freeze crack.